Hi, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of The Confused Millennial. I'm really excited because today we have Alyssa Coleman, holistic nutritionist and yoga teacher, here with us from Canada.
Hey,
How's it going?
I'm doing awesome. It's actually a beautiful day here in Toronto, which is amazing because we've had some sort of strange weather. So I'm just like looking out my window and I'm being so grateful for it.
That's awesome. And so I guess so you work as a holistic nutritionist online. Are you a yoga teacher online as well, or just in person for yoga?
Yeah, so I do a bit of both. I love teaching yoga in person, 'cause, for that amazing human contact. But I integrate the yoga into all of my nutrition programs, especially because I know basically all of us, especially millennials, are super stressed out, and it's always an awesome way to just sort of bring us back into our bodies.
Totally, totally. How did you get started with all of this?
Yeah, so it's sort of a strange story. I did not go to university to become a nutritionist. I was actually looking to become environmental policy student. So the path was not a straight and narrow path, but when I was studying environmental policy, I was sort of blown away by my carbon footprint. And being the type of person I am, I just decided right there in the lecture hall that I was going vegetarian. And I was like, that's it. Lowering my footprint, it's gonna be perfect.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, but I went home and I honestly had no idea what I was doing. And I always joke that I was more of a pastatarian than anything else.
I can relate to that. My vegetarian nights are all pasta.
Yeah, very carb heavy. So I was barely eating any vegetables. I had no idea what I was doing. But I sort of got sucked into the wellness world that way. And, I discovered chia seeds and all the exciting stuff that comes along with eating healthy. And I just sort of went down that rabbit hole and never looked back. And I landed a sort of dream job out of university in environmental policy, and it wasn't for me.
How did you
So
know it wasn't for you?
well, I was just feeling very stifled. I mean, it was sort of an entry level job, but it was in the dream corporation. So I could sort of see where my trajectory was going. And I had all this, burning, fiery passion in me from being in university about how much change I was going to create in the world and what a big impact I was going to have. And I could see from where I was at that that really wasn't going to be the case in this job. And I felt, it was really soul crushing at the time. But so I sort of felt bad for myself for a little while, and then I just pivoted, and I realized how much impact I was making by talking to people about what I was doing in the way of wellness. So I was talking about what I was eating, and things that I was really lit up with passion about at the time, and I was having an amazing impact on these people's lives who I was talking to. And I sort of realized at that time, while I was still in this job that I, didn't love, that this could be an amazing path for me. And I sort of pivoted, and I went to school for holistic nutrition, and I never looked back.
That's amazing. How did you get the courage to pivot? Because I know for me, having a very similar story, landing my dream job, still in the middle of my education as well, in the middle of my master's degree, it was one of the hardest things to really let go of this death grip I had on what I thought my life should be like after going to school for so many years and thinking this is what I really, really wanted. So where did you find that strength to pivot?
Yeah, it definitely is difficult, absolutely. Especially for, you know, people like yourself who've put in so much time and effort and money. I'm
Hmm.
still paying off my student loan from that amazing university experience. So it definitely was a bit of a struggle, but something that really helped me was I reached out to my family members. So I remember having a really amazing conversation with my dad and telling him that this was while I was still working at that dream job. We went for lunch together, and I said, I think I'm going to go back to school.
Every dad's dream to hear.
Yeah. And, I could tell I took him a little bit off guard, but luckily he was very supportive. And, he said, think about it. And we talked a little bit more about it. And having someone to support you and to be able to talk through it with was really helpful, because for a long time I was just thinking about it in my mind, and I was having that inner struggle like, but I just went to school for all these years, and you know, it's like a lot of blood, sweat, and tears when
Yeah.
you are in university, and it's for this end goal. But yeah, I really found talking it out with my dad, with my boyfriend, with my friends, helped me a lot and gave me the strength to, you know that you're going to have that support, and that was really helpful for me.
It's amazing. So, how quickly between going to school for nutrition to actually launching your business, what did that timeline end up looking like for you?
Yeah, so this was not glamorous. This is something that I really wish someone had told me when I was in university and again in school for nutrition. I really thought I was going to leave school for nutrition and, rent out an office space, and the next day people were going to be lining up outside the door to get healthy.
I wish.
Yeah, and I mean, looking back now, it's just so hilarious. But I really did think people that's how it was going to go, and I was going to be, paying the bills in no time.
Hmm.
But I had a few clients. I was I was doing a lot for free,
Hmm.
and I was spending a lot of money. To be honest, I was spending a lot more money than I was making. And I had to have that hard realization that what I was doing was not working. So I realized that I was sort of using this old school model of wanting to rent out office space, meet with people in person, and that really wasn't working. That's when I really started to look online. So that was about, I would say, a good year of struggling. And
Wow.
yeah, and I was really holding on to hope, because as I'm sure you know, it's a lot of work. I was working, I was so busy, and I was, marketing, and I was doing these free speaking engagements, and I was so passionate about it, and I was getting really great feedback, but I wasn't making any money.
I have goosebumps right now. And the reason I have goosebumps right now is you started your business back in 2014, right?
Yes.
Okay, so literally, you just described my first year in business. I didn't rent the office space, but a lot of free speaking engagements, a lot of in person, one on ones, or even live workshops where I was spending so much time traveling from one place to the next place to the next place, not really having much of an online presence, really getting like no getting great feedback, but having no idea how when like all of a sudden I was going to hit that type of income that I was really hoping and dreaming for. So
Yeah.
continue, but it's amazing. Sorry, I haven't heard too many other people that did it that old school way first.
Yeah, and it seemed like I was doing everything right, and I'm sure you
Hmm.
felt the same way. This was what we were supposed to do. This was the this was the path,
Yeah.
and then you were going to just, everyone was going to want to pay you at that point. That was not the case. So I discovered this mentor that I ended up buying her product, and what that was a group program, and she was really sort of became a mentor to me, and taught me the ways of sort of taking this business online. And the online world is a whole other animal that is amazing to and really fun to learn about. And so, yeah, in 2015, I took the entire nutrition business online, and I've really found it amazing. It's been one of the most fulfilling things that I've done, because I am meeting with my dream clients every single day. When I was working offline, I was really taking anyone who was willing to pay me. So I was working with people who, I was helping them, and we were having a really great relationship, but it wasn't lighting me up the way that talking about what you love and you're really passionate about does. So I found it so fulfilling to be online, because these people are out there in hundreds and thousands, and you just have to find them and get in front of them, and you guys can be BFFs.
Where has been the best place for you to find that dream client?
Yeah, for me, it's really been Facebook. This was something I didn't expect, to be honest. In terms of what kind of social media I use, I really thought I was going to meet most of my ideal clients on Instagram, or, I thought I was going to start making waves on Pinterest, because, oh my God, have I wasted enough hours on Pinterest?
Me too.
But yeah, right. It's dangerous.
Hmm.
But I've really had a lot of impact on Facebook, and using Facebook ads has been really amazing for my business, and it's a great tool to use.
That's amazing. And so earlier you said moving the business online was a totally different beast, and I 100% agree with that. I know for myself that I started to fall into like almost a perfection paralysis where I was just looking at so many competitors or experts that were online doing, webinars 2 or 3 times a week and just all these different ways. There's Periscope, there's Twitter, there's now Facebook live stream. There's so many
Oh my
different
God.
ways where I just ended up like not doing anything for a long time because I kept comparing myself to others. Is that something that you found to be true as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It almost gave me anxiety just listening to you list off all those things. Periscope, Facebook Live. Um, oh my God. Yeah, it can be very stressful in the online business. And, what we're putting out and what everyone is putting out is this, really polished version of the
Hmm.
struggle. And it's really important to realize that. And when you look at someone's website, when you see what they're doing online, it took them a lot of work, and it's easy to forget that. I definitely found myself comparing myself to these people who had been in the game for so much longer than me, and that's something really important to realize as well. But even people who have been there for just the same amount of time as you, I really had to start to check in with myself and notice that I was comparing myself to them. And something that I've started doing now that has made such a huge difference is when I see something really amazing that I start to feel that little bit of like comparison or envy, I just take a step back and say, like, wow, great job.
Hmm.
And really congratulate them, even if they're not there, but just say, like, you are making something awesome, and I really admire that
Hmm.
rather than I really envy that. And
Hmm.
that has made a huge difference for me because I really was caught in this place, like you say, of not getting anything done because I didn't think it was going to be as good as somebody else's, or even just as good as you envision it.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you use Canva, um,
Uh-huh.
but the first couple things I made in Canva were an absolute, just disaster. And yeah, and now I feel really confident with it. And I think I can create some really awesome stuff. But that took me time, that took me practice. And I can even compare my own work to stuff that I created in the past, but it's just not worth it. The more you do, the more amazing things you can create. And you just have to keep plugging along at what you're really passionate about. So, as you mentioned, like you can do Twitter chats and Periscope and whatever. I also was really overwhelmed, but I just started focusing on one thing at a time and really trying to put a lot of love into that. And that made a huge difference for me and stopped that overwhelm. And, something I was doing a lot, speaking of Pinterest, was staying up all night pinning things or downloading free guides. I thought the answer was going to be out there somewhere, but really, I had to just start getting stuff done, taking imperfect action, as my coach always tells me to do. She'll put me back in line if I'm trying to, take way too long on something because you want it to be a certain way. Take imperfect action, put something out there, and you'll be amazed at how much great feedback you're going to get. And then you can just move on to the next thing. It doesn't always have to be perfect.
It's so unbelievably true. I was recently on a call with somebody, and they were pretty much just like, you can sell a course online, and nobody has to know like if that sales bombs. You may end up using that later on as part of your story when you have future successes, but it's not like, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
And so putting it out there, even if it's not perfect, even with typos, that's okay because it's relatable and it's what we're all really going through. I look back at my first Canva designs and they are atrocious. But that's okay.
So fine. It's totally fine.
And so, how does all this kind of translate into helping others for you? And do you offer group coaching packages? How does working with you even work?
Yeah, so I work in two main ways. One is one on one with people. So I'm a holistic nutritionist and I work with them really specifically on what's going on with them every step of the way. I work a lot with actually creative entrepreneurs, people who are in the online space and totally forget to start taking care of themselves. So that's something that I really struggled with when I was bringing my business online. You know, you can burn the candle at both ends and just be working all day and all night and never remember to come back to yourself and make sure that your number one asset, are being really taken care of. And the more, you're taking care of yourself nutritionally, spiritually, mentally, the better you can be in your business. And that's really powerful. But what I've recently started doing is creating a group coaching online program. And so that's actually starting June 1st, which I'm so excited about.
Yay!
Yeah, we're doing an online nutrition and fitness program called the Bikini Ready program. To get all of us ready for that summer season, feeling really confident when we hit the beach and, not stressing about how we look in a bikini, starting to feel really amazing. And so that's happening June 1st, as I said, and it's $199, which is really an awesome price for 4 weeks. We want to make sure that everyone can work with us and feel really amazing in the summer.
That's amazing. It's so cool how you went from starting this online business and, very openly talking about how getting so in your head about competition and really the way that you compared yourself to what others were doing and things like that. And now your entire business model is around helping people work through that mindset. And I absolutely just love that because I think that's one of the biggest lessons if you're trying to start an online business. Usually, whatever is one of your larger struggles or your larger pain points, document that, remember that, never lose that, because usually that's going to be exactly what the gift or solution you have to teach others once you're out on that other end of things.
Absolutely.
Totally, totally, absolutely love that. Kind of going backwards a little bit, I guess this would have been a question a lot better earlier on, but how did you know that kind of going into this wellness realm and being able to help so many other people with their own self care was kind of your life's calling?
That's kind of a difficult question. I think, it's something that you just intuitively know. It really did light me up, and it was one of those things I just always wanted to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone would say, oh, I'm breaking out here on my cheek or something, and I was like, well, I had a nutritional viewpoint on everything, and I really wanted to help people. I really felt alive and passionate and excited. You know that feeling that starts bubbling up inside of you when you talk about it. I think that sort of translates to an intuitive knowing that that's something that you want to do. The other thing is that I really knew that I wanted to work for myself. I knew that working in this mainstream model wasn't for me because I really wanted to travel a lot. And once I, discovered that there was this online world and I could, talk to you from either, my office or from, a coffee shop in Mexico, that really just sort of blew my mind and got me excited, gave me goosebumps. And that sort of really grew my passion to really put in the time and the focus that it took to move everything online. So I guess it was very intuitive, but when something really makes you feel excited and amazing. And I say, you know what, run in that direction if you feel it, whatever it is. And it's, sometimes it's something really silly for some people and they think that they're not supposed to go in that direction, and a lot of times there's people around you, and that's something that I don't love to talk about, but there were people around me when I was pivoting that said, why are you doing this, is this a good idea? And that can really make you doubt yourself. But you know what's right for you, and don't let those people push you off your path, because now, where I am now, those people are saying, I'm so proud of you. What did you do? And now they really want to know. So go in the direction that you want to go. Don't let anyone else tell you that what lights you up isn't, what you should be doing.
I love that. I was going to ask you next, but you already pretty much answered it. Like, what's your advice for the multi-passionate millennial? But I mean, you pretty much answered it on so many levels. There's going to be people that doubt you. There's going to be people that question you. My own family also for so long. Are you even making money? How are you supporting yourself? What are you doing? It just looks like you're at the beach every day. Um, and so, there's going to be people that just don't understand. It's not that they're not necessarily not supportive, but it's outside of the realm of what they can put into like their box of how they understand
Yeah.
to make money. Just like when you first started out, you were renting office space and things like that because the idea of a virtual market was still just outside of what you could really grasp and hold on to and figure out how to understand. So I love that, kind of taking the separation of people's doubts as not a reflection of you, but more as just, the way they understand or see the world. Um,
Such a good point.
and then also what you said about running towards what your passion is and falling and, whatever lights you up. And, one of the questions I always ask career coaching clients is, what do people say you're good at and what do you spend time researching or doing when you're not at work? And usually those two things somewhere, there's probably a lot of things you're good at, but whatever you're researching and developing that skill outside of work is usually there's an intersection, and that's really where you want to either create a business or find a career that fits, because you do want your career to be something that is fairly intuitive to you, something that you have a passion for developing, and being able to continue to grow that. And it's so funny that you are in this kind of wellness self-care space because all of your responses to that advice is so much taking care of yourself and really going inside to find those answers. And I absolutely just love that because you can just hear how much you embody your work and your practice and in the way you live your life, which is so cool.
Thank you so much. That's, really an amazing compliment.
You're welcome. So where can people find you? How can they connect with you?
So they can find me on my blog, which is alyssacoleman.ca, and there I'm always posting new blog posts that are, focused on self-care, but also really fun things like, how to get longer eyelashes naturally. Everything that, I love doing, the fun things that I love doing, how to switch off of drinking pop, things that I'm struggling with, I'm going to be posting about there. But you can also find me, all over social media, and I always have those links on my blog as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for making time for us today, Alyssa. It was so great having you. And I will be sure to include the link to where to meet her, as well as for the Bikini Ready program coming out on June 1st in the blog post for you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was so awesome meeting you.